Only in Kentucky can a military pilot die chasing a top-secret UFO, and a border glitch create a lawless zone for future presidents to fight illegal pistol duels. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm learning a little bit more about Kentucky, one county at a time, all 120 of them. And today, I'm learning about Simpson County. Simpson County sits on the southern edge of Kentucky, right against the Tennessee border. The land lies on the Pennyroyal Plateau, a rolling limestone plain ranging in elevation from 490 to 928 feet. And because the entire foundation is Mississippian-age limestone, water constantly erodes the bedrock. The county is split between two major watersheds. The West Fork of Drake's Creek drains the northern half of the county into the Green River, while the Red River Basin drains the south down into the Cumberland. For decades, local folklore insisted there was a giant's grave hidden somewhere near the town of Franklin. It ended up being pioneer myth, but for a long time the county's indigenous history was largely understood as a corridor for tribes such as the Shawnee and Chickasaw. But that understanding shifted earlier this year in February of 2026. Authorities investigating a remote cave system in the county discovered skeletal remains. Anthropologists from UK confirmed the site was an authentic Native American burial ground. The state immediately stepped in to protect the cave, offering the first concrete proof of ancient indigenous habitation hidden right beneath the limestone. And that's not the only secret buried in the limestone. The topography hides the Sinking Creek cave system, a site so historically significant that it was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1983. Its exact location is kept strictly confidential to protect the preserved prehistoric remains of Ice Age fauna hidden within. The European frontier era was driven by land-hungry farmers pushing west from Virginia and Tennessee in the early 1800s. By 1819, the state legislature recognized that the area was sufficiently populated to require its own local government. So on January 28, 1819, they carved Simpson County out of neighboring Logan, Warren, and Allen counties. They named the new territory for Captain John Simpson. He was a highly respected local militia officer and politician who had fought alongside Anthony Wayne at Fallen Timbers, only to be killed at the Battle of the River Raisin during the War of 1812. The following year, the town of Franklin was incorporated on a 62-acre tract of land to serve as the county seat. It was named in honor of founding father Benjamin Franklin. While the town names honored American patriots, the county's actual borders resulted from a massive mathematical mistake. When surveyors originally drew the southern border between Kentucky and Tennessee back in 1780, they struggled with imperfect astronomy tools and terrible weather. It's also believed that massive deposits of iron ore buried underground skewed their compass readings. And because of this, the surveyors drifted off course, creating a geographical glitch known as the Simpson County Offset. It's a weird triangular chunk of Kentucky that juts sharply down into Tennessee. The surveying glitch accidentally created a massive legal loophole. In the early 1800s, defending your personal honor was a matter of life and death, but the state of Tennessee had strictly outlawed the practice of dueling. So angry politicians and slighted gentlemen from Nashville would simply travel north to the Sanford Duncan Inn, step across the jagged state line into the Simpson County Offset, and settle their scores legally in Kentucky. And in September 1826, future Texas President Sam Houston met a rival, William White, on this very dueling ground. They drew pistols at 15 feet. Houston shot White in the groin. White survived, but he spent 4 months confined to a bed, while Houston walked away with his honor intact and no legal charges. Other towns in the county got their names through sheer disappointment rather than gunfights. A group of early settlers was digging a communal well when they hit a layer of rock that sparkled in the sunlight. Thinking they had struck it rich, they aggressively named the community Gold City. The rocks turned out to be completely worthless. By the 1850s, the county was dominated by plantation-style agriculture, fueled entirely by enslaved labor. One local planter, Andrew Jackson Caldwell, decided to use his wealth to build something highly experimental. Inspired by a popular architectural book of the era, Caldwell used enslaved laborers to quarry limestone, fire bricks, and carve intricate woodwork to construct a place called Octagon Hall. Completed around 1860 just north of Franklin, it's a massive two-story brick house with 8 identical sides. It remains one of only 2 surviving octagonal structures in the entire state of Kentucky. When the Civil War broke out, Kentucky officially remained in the Union, but Simpson County's population was bitterly divided. Octagon Hall found itself caught directly in the crossfire. The massive 8-sided house was commandeered as an emergency hospital for both Union and Confederate soldiers at different times, and later served as a desperate hideout for Confederate troops on the run from federal patrols. The county also produced one of the most infamous Confederate guerrillas of the entire war. Marcellus Jerome Clark was born in Simpson County in 1845. Orphaned at just the age of 10, he joined the Confederate Army when he was 16 years old. After being captured at Frank Donaldson, Clark managed to escape a military prison camp in Indiana and fled back to Kentucky. When his foster brother was captured, shot, and blinded by Union troops, Clark swore a violent vendetta. He eventually formed a ruthless guerrilla band that burned property and robbed citizens across the state. As the attacks escalated, wild rumors began to spread among Union troops about a vicious female guerrilla fighter leading the raids. Mocking the Union soldiers and societal norms, Clark actually embraced the rumor and adopted the alias Sue Mundy. His brutal run ended in 1865 when he was captured, tried by a military tribunal, and hanged in front of thousands of people here in Louisville. He wasn't even 20 years old. His body was eventually brought back to Simpson County and buried in the town of Franklin. After the war, the county had to rebuild its society and grapple with the realities of emancipation, because for decades, African American students in Franklin were forced to attend underfunded, segregated classes held in community churches. It wasn't until 1930 that a 4-year high school was even offered for black students. Well, finally in 1940, the Lincoln School opened, funded by a mix of local taxes and federal work programs. It gave the black community a dedicated, high-quality educational facility. The school became an absolute hub for the community, expanding several times to accommodate students bussed in from across the rural county and operating successfully until the district was finally desegregated in 1965. Philanthropy also heavily shaped the town's infrastructure. Ella Hoy Goodnight was a Franklin native who married Isaac Goodnight, a local lawyer who later served 3 terms in the U.S. Congress. After her husband died and her only son was killed in a tragic shooting accident, Ella wanted to leave a lasting legacy for the community that raised her. She bequeathed her fortune to the city, which was later combined with Federal Works Progress Administration funds to help build the Goodnight Memorial Library in 1937. It still operates today, anchoring the historic downtown commercial district. But the county's historical footprint reaches far beyond local buildings. Alexander Majors was born in Simpson County in 1814. He eventually moved west to Missouri, where he revolutionized American communication. In 1860, Majors co-founded the legendary Pony Express, establishing a relay system of horseback riders to carry mail from Missouri to California in just 10 days. A deeply religious man, Majors actually required all of his frontier riders to sign a strict oath, promising they would not swear, fight, or drink alcohol while on the job. Simpson County also gave the world Thomas O. Chisholm. Born on a local farm in 1866, Chisholm began his career teaching at the rural Lake Spring School at age 16. He later became a newspaper editor in Franklin before finding religion at a local revival. He went on to write over 1,200 religious poems and hymns. Eventually, Simpson County earned a reputation as the ultimate destination for quick getaways and fast weddings. Because Franklin sits right on the Tennessee border and Kentucky law allowed couples to purchase a marriage license and get married on the exact same day without a waiting period, country music royalty flocked to the town. In 1937, country pioneer Kitty Wells crossed the border and married Johnny Wright in Franklin. And 30 years later, the biggest wedding in country music history happened right here. On March 1st, 1968, Johnny Cash and June Carter crossed the state line and were married at the Franklin First United Methodist Church. The wedding happened during a frantic tour schedule just months after Cash recorded his legendary live album at Folsom Prison. The small town ceremony instantly became national news, cementing Franklin's place in country music pop culture history. A really bizarre event in the county's history didn't happen at an altar, though. It happened in the sky. On January 7th, 1948, the Kentucky Highway Patrol started getting frantic calls about a massive circular object hovering near Maysville. The object drifted west at a high-speed rate of speed, and the control tower at Godman Army Airfield at Fort Knox eventually spotted it. They scrambled 4 F-51 Mustang fighter planes from the Kentucky Air National Guard to intercept. Captain Thomas Mantell, 25-year-old World War II vet born right here in Franklin, led the pursuit. As Mantell chased the massive metallic object higher into the atmosphere, his wingman backed off because their planes lacked the proper oxygen equipment for those extreme altitudes. Mantell ignored the warnings and kept climbing. He passed 25,000 feet, blacked out from profound oxygen deprivation, and his plane spiraled out of control. He crashed into a farm just south of Franklin and was killed instantly. As you can imagine, this UFO incident became an absolute national media sensation. Rumors swirled in the press that his plane had been shot down by an alien death ray, or that the wreckage was highly radioactive. It took years for the military to admit what actually happened. In 1952, the Air Force's Project Blue Book finally declassified the truth, and they said that Mantell had died chasing a top-secret military Skyhook spy balloon. The massive metallic-looking balloons routinely drifted up to 100,000 feet, and because the espionage project was highly classified, neither Mantell nor the control tower had any idea what they were looking at. For over a century, the county was an agricultural powerhouse, completely reliant on tobacco, corn, and livestock. But in recent decades, the agricultural landscape has transformed. Tobacco farming experienced a total collapse. Between 2012 and 2017, tobacco acreage plummeted by 70%. And by the 2022 census, there was absolutely zero tobacco acreage reported in the entire county. Farmers adapted by pivoting aggressively to grain, turning the flat, fertile land into a massive producer of corn, soybeans, and winter wheat. That transition away from tobacco also ties into one of the county's most fascinating native sons. Brad M. Kelly was born in Franklin and made an absolute fortune in the 1990s by launching discount cigarette brands like USA Gold. He sold his company for nearly $1 billion. He's notoriously press shy, but his story perfectly bridges the county's historic tobacco roots with modern massive scale wealth. As tobacco faded, the manufacturing sector exploded to fill the economic gap. The Wilkie North Industrial Park transformed the west side of Franklin into an automotive and plastics hub. And today, large facilities such as Berry Plastics, Quad Graphics, and Toya Automotive Parts employ hundreds of local residents. The momentum hasn't stopped. In 2025, Kroger announced a $391 million automated distribution center in Franklin, which was a massive logistical project expected to create 430 new full-time jobs. The county also capitalized on its border town geography in a pretty lucrative way. In 1990, investors opened the Dueling Grounds race course on the exact same farm where Sam Houston fought his illegal pistol duel. Later rebranded as Kentucky Downs, the track is unique because it features a sprawling European-style turf course rather than a traditional dirt oval. Today it operates as a massive gaming and horse racing complex, generating an estimated $178 million in economic impact and employing nearly 1,000 people. It pulls in massive tourism and entertainment revenue straight up from I-65 and the national market. But that aggressive push for modern infrastructure hasn't come without friction. Right now, the county is caught in a highly controversial fight over a proposal to build a massive data center near I-65. The 2026 plan calls for 200,000 square foot buildings, sparking intense debate among tech developers, local farmers, and state regulators concerned about the local power grid and stormwater management. All of this aggressive economic growth has kept the local population stable and expanding. As of 2026, Simpson County is home to approximately 21,000 people. So, that's Simpson County. What'd I get wrong this time?